Again, and welcome back to the Scott Sports Cup final studio. Well, the Celtic team has been confirmed. We're just waiting to hear from Jock Brown about the official Rangers lineup. We think that Mel Sterling may be wearing the number 5 shirt instead of Derek Ferguson, but more or less a pretty strong lineup, Sandy, really.
A pretty strong lineup, but I think they might put Sterling against Paul McStay. Obviously, they know that Paul McStay is a very, very good player, and I don't think they would want him to run the match, and they might put him against them and close him down and try to give him less time on the ball.
If this is an opportunity for someone, one thinks of Ray Wilkins, who's not playing, to take the game by the scruff of the neck and do a bit of controlling from midfield. How hard is that going to be, Davy?
I think Rangers will miss Ray Wilkins. I'm surprised that Graham Souness hasn't stepped into play, given that Derek Ferguson obviously isn't fit enough. And I think Rangers are short now of a player who can sit in front of the back four, make passes, and allow the other players to get forward. And I don't know whether Mel Sterling can do that job for Rangers. I think they will miss Derek Ferguson and Graham Souness.
Yes. How much pressure will, the younger players of these sides, although there's a lot of experience, but...
He may well come on and make an impact as he did in the semi-final, but that's the Celtic line-up with the back four anticipated as being Morris, McCarthy, White and Rogan, with Roy Aitken joining Peter Grant, Paul McStay and Tommy Burns in midfield. So that looks to be the Celtic line-up, all right, and we don't see any surprises there, but Rangers have definitely been keeping some things up their sleeve. There's no doubt about that at all. The Rangers line-up will show no Ray Wilkins. That was expected this morning, but the other news for Rangers is no Derek Ferguson. He's not being risked with that damaged shoulder. So Mel Sterling wears number 5, but my understanding is he will play on the right side of midfield, leaving Ian Ferguson and John Brown in the middle, with Mark Walters playing wide on the left, perhaps early on, with Drinkle and McCoist up front. Graham Souness, you'll note, confirmed as Ian St John anticipated as substitute alongside David Cooper. So this is the lineup. Ian, what do you make of that?
Well, I heard David Provan saying there that Rangers will probably miss a quality player in midfield, with Ferguson not playing, and I think he could be right there. So I think the Rangers lineup is a bit of a help to Celtic this afternoon.
Well, that's the news just before the kick-off with the team lineups. So let's see what the panel back in the studio with Adam Monfort think about that.
Yes, indeed, more or less as we thought. Disappointment for Derek Ferguson, Sandy, at the end of a hard-working season, but he does seem to have a suspect shoulder, which I gather is going to be treated perhaps in the close season.
Yes, the lad will be really disappointed to miss a game of this importance. But it gives Rangers a problem there. Their midfield's not their strongest midfield, and I think that Graham Souness is an absolute certainty to come on the park at some stage.
Yes,
maybe after the first half hour, after the game settles down, I think he'll come on. But it's a wee bit of blow for Rangers not having Ferguson and Wilkins in the midfield.
Could that perhaps swing the match Celtic's way, David, do you think? Something as significant as that?
Well, I think Billy McNeill will look upon it as being an important advantage at this late stage. I must say I feel sorry for Derek Ferguson because he's been very brave. He's fought with a lot of pain throughout the season, and really has come to the most glamorous occasion of the season and he's going to miss out. But I think Celtic now have an edge.
Well, we'll take a look at the Celtic lineup, which was, as we thought, no real surprises there, obviously. And I suppose one would have to say that's as close to Celtic's best lineup as one could expect.
Well, apart from Andy Walker being out, Billy has a full squad to choose from, and he also has the bonus that Derek White has come back to full fitness. And Joe Miller has had the benefit of Joe Miller, who really has seized his chance with both hands and looks very comfortable now playing through the middle.
Right. Well, I'm going to ask you for a prediction in a moment, but I wonder what kind of shape of match we can see. Obviously, you mentioned earlier, Sandy, the quote was Rangers Celtic games tend to be played at 100 miles an hour and they're over almost before you think they've started. But will it be a ram-stamming game, or can we see some skill in this match, which we're all looking forward to?
We'll definitely see skill, there's no doubt about that. But I think at the start of the game, it'll be very, very hectic. I mean, it'll be 100 mile an hour stuff. But once the game settles down, it is very warm out there today, and it is a lovely day, and that'll take its toll on the players. And once it settles down to a more of a passing game, then the two teams have got very good passers in it, and I think we should see a very, very good game indeed.
Yes. What about you, David? Do you think it's going to be the kind of entertaining match that we hope it will be for everyone, for the guys out there at the game and for the viewers at home?
Well, if the 4 previous league games this season are anything to go by, we should win for a treat. And we're now coming to expect goals in Old Firm games. Both sides, it's not as if it's a league game and they're going out to try and get a point and maybe steal the 2 points. They're both going out to win. Quality players in view. I think it should be a cracker.
Right. Well, there's an interesting picture. The Jack McGinn on the left from Celtic, talking to David Holmes on the right, having what's known as a wee blether before the cup final. They were going back up to the VIP director's box very shortly. But that leads us nicely, I think, to prediction time. And I suppose the only prediction from me is that you're both going to pick the sides that have meant so much to you over the years. But Davy, what about yourself, first of all, the defending trophy holders here?
Well, I can understand why most people have Rangers as favourites. I don't see it that way. It's a one-off occasion. This is Celtic's last chance to salvage what has been a very disappointing season. And I think Billy McNeill and Tommy Craig will have the Celtic lads fired up sufficiently to do the job.
Sandy, the thought of a treble is when you think that most professional footballers play all their lives and never get a medal, here are the fellows, looking for a third major title this season.
It's a great incentive to go for them for today to get a treble, and there's not many times that it happens. I think it's a wee bit blow for Rangers that the two midfield players are not playing, but I still think they're good enough to win.
Right, well, there we are. We'll see how it works out. The scene at Hampden is coming up now, 10 to 3 or thereabouts. Massed pipe bands, the pitch looking absolutely magnificent, as we saw in our opening helicopter shot way back round about 10 past 12. Well, it's time now to go over to the National Stadium. We'll be hearing from our panel guests at half-time, and we hope to be reflecting on the first half of a great final. So with best wishes for a good commentary, it's over to Ian St John, and first, the voice of Jock Brown.
Thank you very much, Arthur. Yes, welcome to Hampden. It really is a magnificent setting in the sun this afternoon. Both sets of supporters relishing the occasion to the full. And there's the usual introduction, the ball boys coming out first. Then out comes Graham Souness wearing his tracksuit top as the Rangers manager. He'll also be in the dugout because he's been named, or he's named himself as substitute. So the two teams emerge to a tremendous reception. There's Davy Cooper and Billy Stark, these experienced players on the bench. Richard Gough coming out. Here's Bob Valentine coming out to handle his last ever match, his third Scottish Cup final. He's 50 years old, retires after the match. And he was in charge in 1977 in Old Firm final, and again in 1984 when it was Aberdeen against Celtic. A great career for Bob Valentine, and there's the familiar lineup for the formalities before the match. The Rangers fans chanting Championes for their favourites, and Graham Souness out for the very first time in a cup final, either in England or in Scotland. He did tell us he won an Italian Cup medal for Sampdoria, but never has he taken part either in the FA Cup final or the Scottish Cup final. Same applies there to Terry Butcher and to Chris Woods. Gary Stevens, though, won a cup medal in 1984 playing for Everton against Watford. Richard Gough lost for Tottenham against Coventry 2 years ago. So going down the line of Rangers players, there's Ian Ferguson shielding his eyes, who scored the winner for St Mirren against Dundee United 2 years ago. And Mark Walters there also enjoying his first major National Cup final occasion. So there's the Celtic manager, Billy McNeill, on the right. He has 7 Cup winners' medals as a player in a very long, illustrious career at Celtic Park. Roy Aitken has played in 4 Cup finals before this afternoon. Tommy Burns also loads of experience in Cup finals. And Anton Rogan, there's Chris Morris, there was speculation about his future. Derek White back in the side. And the Celtic players with Peter Grant, who was so disappointed being left out last season through injury at the last moment. A very colourful sight as the SFA hierarchy go down the line. There's new president Peter Gardner is there. David Holmes, the chairman of Rangers, introducing Ian Lang, the Scottish Office Minister, to the players, together with Peter Gardner and Jack McGinn, the Celtic chairman, coming on at the end. And there are the linesmen. Ernie Walker there, perhaps in charge as SFA secretary at his last Scottish Cup final. The officials this afternoon, Bob Valentine with George Dunbar and Bob Mullen, the linesman. And now it's the turn of the Celtic players to be introduced. Jack McGinn organising himself to make the introductions. Ernie Walker standing back while the players are introduced to Ian Lang and to the SFA president, a new president, Peter Gardner from Stirling Albion. So the players anxious to get these formalities over with, there can be no doubt about that. And Billy McNeill on the end. Proud occasion leading out his team for a Scottish Cup final once again. With the massed pipe bands behind, Roy Aitken looking very relaxed and calm. Well, you really couldn't imagine a better setting. The pitch looking in magnificent condition, although the grass is a little bit longer than you would normally expect for a major final. The team's now breaking for the warm-up. Pipe bands there, Billy McNeill makes for the dugout for a very tense 90 minutes to come. Bill manages a smile as he takes his seat. So there's the Celtic players now lining up and warming up finally for the start of the match. Well, we know their lineup already. There it is, confirmation once again, and the news from their camp is that the central defenders will be Mick McCarthy and Derek White, with Roy Aitken adding some strength to midfield alongside Peter Grant and Paul McStay, with Tommy Burns on the left flank. And it's the 32nd birthday for Mark McGee, who's enjoyed such a magnificent season for Celtic, scoring 19 times so far. And he, of course, has 3 Cup Winners' medals in successive years, 82, 83, 84, playing for Aberdeen. The Rangers, confirmation there of their troubles through injury. They have no Ray Wilkins, no Derek Ferguson. That's why Graham Souness is there on the bench. Mel Sterling is wearing number 5, but we expect him to play on the right side of midfield, with the centre of midfield occupied by Ian Ferguson and John Brown. So for Mel Sterling, a very important afternoon after his recent signing from Sheffield Wednesday, where he was coached early in his career by Ian St John. And he normally plays at right back, or did so before coming to Rangers, where he's played in midfield for most of his matches since coming north. Well, Roy Aitken has 3 Cup Winners' medals already. He was also involved in that incident in 1984 when he was ordered off against Aberdeen. And it was today's referee, Bob Valentine, who was in charge on that occasion. But Aitken looking forward to his 5th final. Graham Souness enjoying the warm-up, although he'll not start the match. He's out there on the field, and of course, with the SFA ban not applying to him when he's named as substitute, he can be in the dugout this afternoon. So there's the wonderful setting there, the fans behind in shirt sleeves. Really is very warm indeed out there, and the players will find that very testing. Well, Joe Miller's had a great resurgence in form towards the end of the season, wearing number 9, and he may well play through the middle, where he thinks he can play very effectively indeed. He's now persuaded Billy McNeill of that. And the Rangers and Scotland centre forward, Danny McCoy, is playing in his first Scottish Cup final. He's managed most of the honours in the game, apart from a Scottish Cup Winners' medal, and there can be no doubting his determination to put that right this afternoon. Well, Graham Souness heading for the dugout now. Walter Smith is still up in the director's box. Graham Souness standing there for the moment with Jimmy Nicholl on his left, the reserve team coach, player coach. So there's the sun-kissed setting for the 104th Scottish Cup final. It's the 13th Old Firm final. And referee Bob Valentine checking with his linesman to begin his last match in charge in Scottish football as Rangers will get the match underway. Well, the opening minutes expected to be very important indeed to make an impact on the play. There's Derek White making a good clearance from Kevin Drinkle. And indeed, Rangers have sprung a surprise straight away tactically. They've left John Brown at the back with Stuart Munro pushing forward on the left side of midfield. So that's very interesting at this stage. With this free kick now to Rangers, Ian Ferguson will take it once the referee is satisfied about the positioning of the 2-man Celtic wall, Peter Grant and Tommy Burns. Ferguson looping the ball in, it's headed away by McCarthy. Ferguson to Sterland. There's Anton Rogan with a headed clearance. So a throw to Rangers, that'll be taken by Sterland. A long ball into the middle, McCarthy challenged there by Butcher. There's Ian Ferguson to McCoist. There's Terry Butcher trying the long range effort. Well saved by Bonner. Butcher racing back now into defence. So a very impressive opening there, Ian, by Rangers.
Very bright opening indeed, and I would think that when they get free kicks, corner kicks, you know, with Big Terry and Gofton up there, you know, the Rangers will be looking to try and find them.
Headed away by John Brown, winning 10, but still.
Yes, but it's a good ploy, isn't it? Because McStay is a man that can make Celtic tick with their points. So if you can nullify him, then you're going a long way towards turning the game in your own favour. So it'll be interesting to watch and see, you know, if Monroe can do the job and keep McStay quiet.
So a free kick to Rangers, a foul by Derek White, challenging for that high ball. The Butcher has a chance to go forward. Once again, Richard Gough staying back to take the free kick. McCarthy trying to watch that ball hanging in the air. There's Sterland. Well, Rangers playing with the benefit of the breeze. And this high ball played in by Gough. An awkward one hanging in the air there, and it was McCarthy who headed it clear straight to Sterland, who couldn't keep the volley down.
Neil Sterland, I was having a chat with him before the game, and you know, although he's only played one game at right back, I think he's quite enjoying this role in midfield. But down in England, you know, he was a very aggressive player, very strong running player coming from the back, and I would expect to see him doing that this afternoon.
Celtic coming forward. Here's Roy Aitken with Mark McGee. John Brown going in with that powerful challenge on McGee. The referee gives the throw. Mark McGee looking for a free kick in vain. Aitken playing on the right side of midfield. Peter Grant in the middle marking Ian Ferguson of Rangers. There's Joe Miller. Running into Butcher. There's Paul McStay. Back it goes to Grant. Well, they kept the shot down well, Peter Grant. Still to find the net this season. This isn't a bad effort, taking the pass from Paul McStay, and the shot goes wide. Still no difficult one for Chris Woods to do in the match. Helped on there by Sterland. Here's Burns. Drinkle collects. Brought down there by Anton Rogan. Well, Drinkle in a very tight corner here, playing the ball past the fullback and then being brought down. Well, Anton Rogan, the offender, and the free kick again entrusted to Richard Gough. He waits for Butcher to go into the box. Butcher's the target, all right. He's won it well. There's Aitken. Header forward by Aitken. And the early news coming from Wembley is that Steve McMahon has given Liverpool an early lead. Well, there's a very good start for you, Ian, for your cold club.
Yeah, it brought a smile to my face, that one.
Well, one change in that information. Liverpool have scored, but the scorer was not Steve McMahon. It was the inevitable frontman, John Aldridge, who got the goal for Liverpool. Chris Morris going forward. There's John Brown looking for Monroe. That's won well by McStay. All very hectic for the moment. There's a good pass by Munro. Drinkle on the run. That was intended, I think, for McCoist, but it's Anton Rogan who's gone across. And he had to slide in there to avoid a corner kick, taking a photographer with him. So Mark Walters with the throw for Rangers. Walters towards Stelland. Burns is the marker. That's a good turn by Tommy Burns. Long ball into space, but too far away from Joe Miller. Celtic playing a very rigid 4-4-2 formation early on with Miller and McGee up front. A lot of hard work for the front men. Well, the shut sleeve crowd enjoying this very fast start to the match. Brown playing it up the line, but McCoist can't reach it. Mick McCarthy sending it all the way back to Bonner. So Celtic now trying to make progress on the left. There's Rogan. There's McStay. Rogan towards Burns. Excellent control there from Burns, inducing that clumsy challenge from Gary Stevens. Referee Valentine has a word with the English international fullback. And it's a free kick to Celtic. McStay taking it short for Rogan. Stevens going with a header, it breaks to Aiken. And Goff calmly back to Chris Woods. Goff anxious to avoid the disappointment he experienced 2 years ago playing for Tottenham against Coventry in the FA Cup final, losing by 3-2. He also had the misfortune to be in one of those unfortunate Dundee United lineups. So the decision goes Rangers' way. McCarthy's clearance. Headed down well by Aiken. The challenge came from Ian Ferguson, but he showed his studs to Paul McStay, and the free kick's been given for dangerous play. No damage done on McStay, and it's McCarthy with the free kick. Mark McGee signalling for the ball. Aimed for Aiken. Controlled by Butcher. Sure-footed pass back by McCarthy. Cross header very accurate. Headed by Peter Grant, goes for the Rangers throw. McCoy's trying to turn with McCarthy. Here's Burns. Determination in the face of Tommy Burns. Linesman's flag is up. Throw to Celtic. Bob Mullen from Kirkcaldy is the linesman. There's McGee, challenged well by Stevens. McCoy's taken on the back by McCarthy. The referee allows play to continue. Joe Miller nodding it on, chasing his own header, but John Brown is across behind the central defence. Well, 10 minutes gone, but fairly untidy so far, Ian.
Well, yes, I think both teams just feeling their way a little bit, you know, trying to get plough themselves into the game. There's been nothing too exciting as yet. As he says, you know, it's going to be one of those games where they might feel each other out for quite some time before we really get the skilled players breaking their way into the game. You know, Mark Walters, for instance, not really had a touch of the ball at the moment, and we're all waiting to see what he can do. We're waiting to see what Joe Miller can do when he gets the ball at his feet. But I mean, that'll happen very soon, I think.
Ball in there again for Kevin Drinkle. Led forward by Sterling from McCoy. He's very strong in possession, but it's Rogan who wins it from him. Aiken once again available on the right side of the Celtic midfield. There's Mark McGee. Now Barnes. Hefty challenge there by Sterling, judged fair by referee Valentine. The referee appears determined to keep the match flowing. There's Derek White. Good interception by Goff. An awkward one for Butcher with Miller challenging. Butcher did well. Stevens trying to bring Walters into play. Well, the defending players just content to clear the lines for the moment. Determined that they don't make any early mistakes which could throw the initiative to the opposing side.
I don't think Celtic are set out to play in the sort of cavalier manner that they did in the semi-final game against Hibs, if you remember, when they had a tremendous first half. You know, they're more patient, and I think they've probably thought about this, that you know, if they can bed themselves down early on in the game, you'd excite them there. If they can bed themselves down in the early part of the game, then they've probably got a better chance than charging at Rangers.
Well, that charge there by Kevin Drinkle almost brought problems to the Celtic defence. A great piece of goalkeeping by Pat Bonner, coming out smartly and managing to keep the ball inside the 18-yard box despite the claims of Drinkle. There's Barnes with a header. Brown towards Ferguson. There's Stevens. Drinkle trying to get him behind White. Derek White did well, kept his body between Drinkle and goal. Morris winning the throw off Walters. Neat turn by Miller away from Butcher. Burns is free on the left. Promising this for Celtic. Burns chipping it in. There's Butcher in the middle. Well, a little chipped pass was aimed for Joe Miller, but Butcher won that cleanly. Now it's with McGee. Aiken going back, using Chris Morris supporting from right back. That's for McStay. Well, too much pace on the pass. It was McStay who made the opening with a run into the box, but Morris couldn't find him.
But he had lost his marker, Paul McStay there, and if Monroe's going to do the job, then he's got to stick with him, and if McStay makes runs into the box, Jock, you know, he's got to follow him in there.
Barnes and Sterling challenging, Grant and Ferguson together. Stuart Monroe making the challenge also on Grant. Bonner going for the orthodox long ball forward. Well won by Goff. Rogan lets it run, and it'll be Celtic who try to make progress with McGee. There's McCarthy. Aiken again. And the pressure from Brown. Aiken's header. Here's Joe Miller. He's away from Butcher. Miller shot off target, but quite clearly now Celtic are trying to use the pace on the ground of Joe Miller against Terry Butcher. An interesting ploy that, Ian.
Well, it's a very sound ploy when you think about it, Jock, because the one thing big centre-halves don't like is little nippy forwards around him, and Joe Miller is exactly that. He's a small fella and very quick, and if Celtic can get a ball into him, into his feet, I'm sure he'll give Big Terry quite an afternoon of it.